many of us, so you have to think about, you know, people like to work with crystal, or even my husband worked with crystal, but crystals are really ancient archives. And when you start to really working with the vibratory energy and start to understand the language and properties of crystal, like clear quartz, for example, you can decode extraordinary amount of data and the ability to harness that energy. So it is still very well known that back in Atlantis, they were what's called a crystalline temple, place of self-healing, a place of reverence, a place of also pure energy that would feed the different islands, because we know that Atlantis was made in different islands, but everything was made around the spherical circular movement. So that energy of these crystalline temple with the giant clear quartz generator of pure crystalline energy was also serve as a serve of energy and being able to feed the islands. We too have very specific form of very advanced higher dimensional crystal that we utilize even in our realm to feed some of our planets and bring the energy connects to the great central sun. So it's something that was not new to Atlantis, but that was also existing in Atlantis. And this is why there's many healers or light workers, even to this day, are still drawn to the memory of utilizing crystal as a source of healing, vibrational energy, the resonance field, right?
When I was 5, I had discovered what nicknames are, and I gave myself 3 nicknames:
Okay.
Crystal, Awesome, and Power.
Wow.
Thank you. Yeah, my inner child is proud.
Yeah.
It's like my dad was a doctor and my mom was an accountant and a nurse. Like, they didn't teach me about crystals, but, like, it's that knowingness.
See, even at the age of 5 years, I love that because you feel the purity and the innocence when you share that. But because you are harvesting that already from there. The thing is that you may be a 5-year-old at a time, but you still are an old soul
Yeah.
and you still carry all these akashic memories. And depending on what soul design or soul essence you brought in, well, certain of these memories or faculties will be closer to you. So you give yourself a nickname at 3 levels. You combine them all 3 together. That's your crystal,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So the way that I'm imagining Atlantis with what you're saying is like concentric circles where like the most kind of core power is at the center. And is that so what I imagine the civilization, it's like there's these really, really high level crystal temples or one temple in that center where there were these priestesses. Is this like I'm like literally just talking out my butt right now. Can you say something about this? It's like I'm like you remember, please.
And that's why we work so well together. Like we're such a balance. Oh,
You use your mouth and Julian.
it's been far too long. Uh, well, I will speak from memory. So I have a huge fondness of Atlantis, a
Yeah.
very huge fondness. Lemuria too, Atlantis especially, but not as an Atlantean, as a higher dimensional being. So you have to think about that even in Lemuria that was still existing. But in Atlantis, you have the major, huge crystal temple, but it was also many portal that were connecting to the planet and off planet. Okay. So these portal, this is how many beings will come. Different council will come to commune, connect with the Atlantean, work with the high priest and the high priestesses. Feel those words, high priests, high priestesses, because I know they speak to many of us. many. So many of us have different tasks, whether you are guardians of the temples, whether you were the one communicating with off-planet delegations or going off-planet to meet with councils. The Octurans, I remember that we did assign a delegation to the outposts to watch over Atlantis. And the thing about Atlantis, it's multiple stages. It's
Mhm.
not just one Atlantis.
Mhm.
And we know that different stages, and there's been many books and research done around this. So different stages. And then there was a time where Atlantis was very successful. It reached its golden point. It
Mhm.
reached its peak. But now the reflection of that peak is where we are today. Why? How? That's because when Atlantis reached its golden age, they were at the thriving point. This is where there was other influence. It's not just the Atlantean.
Mhm.
There's other influences that was off planet that came and kind of threw a pebble or a monkey wrench in all of this. It's a seduction of going, well, I can be more powerful. I can be disconnected from source. I can play source and I'm going to disconnect. And that was the beginning of the descending. But the thing is, for many intergalactic delegations, we understood that once they reached a golden age, if they were not sustaining that point and move forward in their evolution, we knew that would be the end of that project. And sure enough, that's what happened. So, what can we learn about that field? Because this, let's call it Akashic field of memories, coexists with us now. So we can learn from the mistake, we can learn from what happened, extrapolate the wisdom, and that's what we're going to do to be able to uplift ourselves beyond the same patterns that they went through. And again, I believe it was at least 5 cycles, if I remember correctly. They said it might be a 6 cycle, but the 6 point was when the Atlantean who remained in incarnation moved on, and then the other soul were taking off planets. But all of these energies, crystal, even these, oh, yes, thank you. I just got an energy. We can even call upon these etheric crystal and bring the energy, the pristine, pure energy of these powerful crystalline healing temple and to bring it back today in our golden age. It is time to reascend.
Yeah.
We have learned from duality. We have learned from different rhythmic pattern. It is time to come back to our cosmic presence. Won't you agree? Thank you.
Mm.